from the gun cameras of 8th Air Force fighter planes showed destruction of enemy air opposition over the Western Front. Trains and other ground objectives. A Piggyback plane is caught on the ground. A group of Piggyback planes on the way toward the Allied lines are intercepted by P-51s of the 8th Air Force. The Piggybacks are a combination of a Focke-Wulf 190 fighter on top of a Junkers 88 twin-engine bomber. The bomber is filled with high explosive and released near the target like a bomb. The Focke-Wulf 190 controls the flight of both planes, each of which provides its own power. Fighter squadron discovers an enemy airfield covered with planes. The strike systematically destroys every single plane.
More than 200 miles from the nearest ocean, men of the United States Navy go into action. It's part of a combined amphibious operation in which units of the American and British Navies work alongside Army engineers to ferry personnel and equipment across the Rhine River. From Holland and Belgium, LCMs and LCVPs are brought to the bridgehead sector. These craft were chosen because of their ability to carry a heavy payload at a relatively high speed. As it nears the Rhine, only at night to escape detection. During the daylight hours, the equipment is secured and camouflaged. In the early morning hours at the launching site, Army engineers drop the boats into the river the enemy once said could not be crossed. The United States naval units in this action, unique in military history, were under the general command of Vice Admiral Alan G. Kirk. These units rehearsed for months for this operation, making experimental crossings of rivers in the United Kingdom, which approximated conditions on the Rhine. Tanks, bulldozers, and mobile guns are ferried over, as well as troops, supplies, and other materiel. At Oberwesel, the comparatively still waters of the canal are taken advantage of in the launching operation. Coxswains, instead of operating through surf, maneuver their craft to and from landing spots in currents ranging from 6 to 10 knots. Infantrymen, engineers, and seamen working in close harmony clearly showed the excellent results of their joint training. The unified action resulted in one of the smoothest river crossings in the Continental Campaign.
Allied Allied bases in England, the British 6th Airborne Division begins another phase of the operations. Activities are in exact synchronization with the takeoffs of the US 17th Airborne from France. Gliders jammed with equipment are ready to be hooked up to British Stirling bombers. Glider-borne Tommies get aboard for the trip to the bridgehead sector, where British commandos already have launched Marshal Montgomery's thrust across the lower Rhine. At the same time, the American glider-borne infantry is moving out of airfields in France. These units climb into the Waco or CG-4A glider. It normally carries 12 fully equipped soldiers or a combination of soldiers and equipment up to 4,000 pounds. The nylon rope is prepared for hooking the glider behind the tow ship. Ready for the takeoff. CG-4A glider can be hauled as fast as 150 miles per hour with its full load, although normal cruising speed behind the C-47 is 100. All American gliders in this operation are towed in pairs. The troops taken aloft constitute the 194th Glider Infantry Regiment. Early dawn across the channel in England, a Stirling leaves the airfield with the first British glider to go aloft. Two types of gliders carry the British troops' weapons and supplies. The Hamilcar, which can transport a light tank of approximately 8 tons or any other equivalent load. The Horsa, which is the British standard glider and carries a load of 3 tons. Both are towed singly. Inside one of the gliders. Aboard a Stirling bomber as the glider train wings its way over the British countryside. Crossing the English Channel. The rendezvous point for the British and American aircraft is near Brussels. Streaming eastward across Belgium, the two great aerial task forces total 1,600 planes, 1,400 gliders, and 40,000 troops. Approaching the Rhine River, one of our aircraft lies in flames near the river's bank. The gliders are ready to be cut loose. At the signal, glider from tow ship, the nylon tow rope is unhitched. Glider landings without mishap. Fighters and bombers have been maintaining a protective cover over the area, which is infested with concealed flak positions. One of the crack-ups. This operation is a reversal of the Allied airborne tactics in Normandy and Holland. Here, the glider and parachute forces come in after the ground troops begin their cross-Rhine assault.
another combat patrol in enemy waters, a unit of the submarine fleet, her conning tower streaming with miniature Jap flags, attesting to the success of recent missions. Vice Admiral Charles A. Lockwood, Jr., Commander Pacific Submarine Forces, is piped aboard and congratulates the officers and men. Also aboard are Jap prisoners who were fished from the sea after their ships had been knocked out. One of these captives was the skipper of a transport which was sunk. The prisoners are placed in custody of the Marines. After routine questioning, they will be interned in a prisoner of war camp on the island. After his tour of inspection aboard the underseas raider, Admiral Lockwood is piped overside. Officers and crew members gather on deck for an informal group photograph, displaying a battle flag and a Jap life preserver, grim reminder of successful action at sea. Fresh fruit, fresh milk, and ice cream are broken out for all hands. Welcome delicacies after the long war patrol. During their stay in port, the men will also soak up some of the warm sunlight they've been denied during their long weeks at sea. But the #1 priority, as always, is mail call. Somebody sure misses this submariner, and vice versa.
U.S. Army and Navy Headquarters, Forward Area Guam, Admiral Chester W. Nimitz and his staff plan naval operations in support of 10th Army invasion of Okinawa Island, 335 miles from the Japanese mainland. Vice Admiral Marc A. Mitcher, commander of Task Force 58, arrives at his flagship off Leyte, Philippine Islands, starting point of the fleet's move against Okinawa. The huge convoy includes battleships, cruisers, destroyers, aircraft carriers, and rocket ships. Lieutenant General Buckner, Vice Admiral Turner, and Marine General Smith mapped the attack. First objective is seizure of the Kerama group of islands 17 miles from Okinawa's west coast. Amphibious forces secure 8 of these islands within 50 hours of the initial attack. Powerful units of the fleet support the amphibious landing operations. Commander of the new U.S. 10th Army observes the naval bombardment. Troops of the U.S. 77th Division, commanded by Major General Andrew D. Bruce, quickly establish beachheads as Jap garrisons take to the hills or are wiped out by naval shelling. "331 Japanese troops are killed in the Kerama's fighting. A Japanese interpreter of the 3rd Battalion tells a Korean prisoner to contact Jap civilians hiding from U.S. forces and ask their surrender. Carrying a white flag of truce, the Korean goes up into the hills to persuade the Japanese to give themselves up. Many Japanese voluntarily come down from the hills. Those who surrendered expressed amazement and gratitude when given U.S. medical treatment and food. Questioning a Jap 2nd lieutenant, commander of a platoon wiped out by naval gunfire. Most enemy casualties occurred during our naval bombardment. A 3rd Battalion Patrol and Demolition Squad destroys several hidden Jap suicide boats with thermite bombs. More than 71 of these boats were discovered and destroyed in caves along the shore. The boats are powered by 6-cylinder automobile engines and contain 2 50-pound drums of picric acid. Designed for suicide ramming of warships, either bow or stern contact releases their explosives. Six days after the initial landings on the Kerama Islands, troops of the U.S. 10th Army invade the southwest coast of Okinawa. The attack is preceded by 9 days of intense shelling and bombing by the 5th Fleet. Rocket ships aid in the preliminary softening up bombardment. More than 4,500 tons of shells and rockets are hurled on Okinawa prior to the landings, and every known coastal gun in the beachhead area is destroyed before our troops go ashore. Of shore and inland installations, troops go in. The Marine 3rd Amphibious Corps and the 24th Army Corps make simultaneous landings. The original beachhead is approximately 8 miles long. Enemy resistance of troops and a large part of the civilian population having retreated to the hills. The Jap garrison, it later appeared, was concentrated well to the south of our landing points. Our ships are attacked by scores of Jap planes. Over 100 enemy aircraft are destroyed. Some damage is inflicted on our ships by the Jap aircraft. An enemy plane brought down by anti-aircraft fire crashed into this rocket ship. Rockets stored in the hold were not exploded by the hit, and the vessel remained afloat. Some of our equipment is bogged down on the beach. The shoreline is marked by reefs, shoals, and soft stretches of coral sand. An Amtrak aids in salvaging a radio Wesel stuck in the sand at Orange Beach. Unloading of supplies continues at a rapid pace during the first day of the invasion. Medium tanks and amphibious tractors pack the beach. Tanks push inland on Okinawa over the island's improved road system. Yontan and Katena airfields less than 20 miles north of the capital city of Naha are seized. Within 48 hours after the landing, our troops drive across to the island's east coast, split